T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Coach on Fire Radio.
I am the tiger, dancing through the fire. I am the champion, and you're gonna hear me roar.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Conversations with Jessica, and I am Jessica Lockhart. We're here to talk about humanology, understanding the human being. Are you ready to understand yourself a little bit better? Well, that will be if my voice allows it. I imagine you can hear my very crooked, very hoarse voice today. I'm sorry about this. I just returned from Mexico last night, where I spent 10 days talking nonstop, making presentations and working on workshops. In fact, I was at the World Happiness Festival on Saturday and Sunday talking about how to be happy. Do you want to learn about it? Well, in my humble opinion, and this is what I mentioned during my presentation at the World Happiness Festival, human beings can only define happiness for themselves. I cannot tell you what happiness means to you. You are the only one who can define happiness for yourself. And that will depend on your own characteristics, on the main traits of your own personal human beingness. So we're going to talk about human beings today. We're going to be talking about what makes you you, what makes you unique, what it is that really makes you the person you are. We're going to be talking about the human being model that we use in Humanology to explain and understand human beings. As you know, because we mentioned it in our previous show, all human beings have 4 basic elements that I hope to explain in further detail today. So are you ready to learn about your 4 elements? Remember, the first element is personal essence. What do we mean by personal essence? What does it refer to? Well, instead of answering the question just like that, let me give you a few examples of what it represents, of what it is. Have you ever met 2 identical twins? And what is even more important, have you met their parents? Well, if you ask those parents, they might tell you that from moment 1, as soon as those twins were born, yes, they indeed looked exactly alike, like 2 water drops, but their personalities were different. Even though they shared the same genetic map, even though they'd just been born and therefore had no experience in life, they were different. Maybe one was very nervous and the other one was very relaxed. Maybe one was very loud and the other one was very quiet. They were indeed different. Even if they looked alike, they were different. In Humanology, we explain this by explaining their personal essences. We say that each of those babies has his or her own unique personal essence. And personal essence is what makes them whom they are. Every human being is born with a specific personal essence that will define his or her own way of being, that will affect everything that human being does in life and will not change, and this is key, this is fundamental, will not change from birth till death. It's the only immutable part of the human being. Personal essence is what remains when you remove everything from the human being but its core. When you remove thought, feelings, even the body, what remains is the human being's deepest nature, the human being's personal essence. Personal essence can also be felt, can also be experienced when you suddenly enter a room or somebody comes or approaches you and introduces you to someone you've never seen before, or you come across someone you never saw before in that room that I was mentioning. You know, you never met that person before, but even so, You meet them for the first time and you have this very, very, very strong feeling inside of you. This sudden feeling that could be very strong and positive or negative. You could feel immediately attracted to that person in a very, very strong way, or you could feel repelled, like, ooh, no, there's something in this person that I just can't take, that I don't like. And it's something you just feel. It's nothing logical, it's nothing rational, it's like a sensation, like a feeling inside of you. It's something that just pops up. Well, in Humanology, we also explain this through personal essence. Your personal essence and the personal essence of that other person's clash or attract one another very much. That's why you have those sudden, very strong feelings inside of you. And those feelings usually don't change. If you feel that feeling inside, it will not change no matter how often you speak to that person or how close you get to them. The feeling will always be in you. Another example in which one can find the personal essence is by entering the state of flow. Do you know what the state of flow means? The state of flow was first defined by Hungarian psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who defined the state of flow as one of the three states in which the human being can be. We can be sleeping, we can be awake, and we can be in the state of flow. You might not know the word, you might not know this term, the state of flow, but I'm convinced that you've experienced it before, even if you didn't know how it was called. The state of flow is whenever you are completely absorbed by an activity, whenever you're profoundly concentrated doing something, so deeply engaged in that activity that it's like the world around you disappears, the world around you vanishes. You're so into whatever it is that you're doing that people might talk to you and you won't hear. Time seems to stop. You're not aware of anything that's happening around you. You have no thoughts, no feelings. It's just you and whatever it is that you are doing. At that moment, you are just your personal essence. You know it's you. There's no doubt about that. It's just you. But just you, nothing else. There's no thinking, there's no feeling, there's no world outside of you. It's just your personal essence. In the state of flow, you enter your personal essence. So, how can we define what personal essence is? The way we define it in Humanology is personal essence is what you are when everything else is removed from you and only your deepest nature remains. Personal essence is what defines your innermost nature. In Humanology, personal essence can be identified by means of 3 exercises. Humanologists can help you carry out these 3 exercises and identify your own personal essence by means of concepts. Each personal essence can be defined by a concept. It's not just one word, it could be one word or several words, but those words will always represent one concept. So, if your personal essence is, for example, lion, you have to ask yourself, what are the main traits, the main characteristics of lions? Well, lions are very strong. You might be a very, very strong person in the physical aspect or in the mental aspect. You must be a very, very strong person. All the characteristics of a certain personal essence will coincide with your own being. Thus, your personal essence will have a set of traits, a set of characteristics that will completely identify with your own personality, with your own way of being. Lions, therefore, are agile but sleep a lot. They're also very proud beings. Ask yourself, If your personal essence is that of a lion, are you a proud being? Are you a person who needs to sleep a lot? Are you an agile person? Whatever your personal essence, you will share the same characteristics. Let me give you a few examples. My own personal essence is light. I am the light in a light beam. I am a completely focused person, very extremely fast. I do everything really, really, really fast. I can also be very warm, but if my intensity rises, I can be hot and burn. I dislike dark people, unclear people. People feel attracted to me like butterflies to light, but other people also feel blinded by me. What other characteristics would you say light has? Well, we could say that light can be trapped. Well, believe me, I am very, very hard to trap as well. People try to define me, to label me. It's almost impossible for them. I always get out of it. I always somehow squeeze out of any kind of jail or prison. I can never be locked up. But there are all kinds of personal essences. As I said, they're defined by concepts. So your personal essence could be any concept, and you would share the same characteristics as that one concept. Some of the examples I've found throughout my years as a humanologist have to do with nature. Others have nothing to do with animals or with plants, but rather with inanimate objects. I recall one lady's personal essence that really surprised me, that really shocked me when she discovered it. Her personal essence was lifesaver. Yeah, like those rings on ships. And believe me, that lady completely shared the same characteristics as a lifesaver. She was unsinkable. She would sink, but then boop, she would resurface. She would sink and then boop, she would resurface. She spent her whole life in and out of mental hospitals. She would sink a little bit and then whoop, she would resurface. Unless she was tied to somebody, she would just drift, letting anyone take her with them. She would go with this person, with that person, with this circumstance, with that circumstance. And she would say so herself. She would say, I need to be tied down. I need to be somehow attached to somebody or I will just drift away. Funnily enough, she always dressed in orange and blue colors, very, very bright colors, like lifesavers do. And she was very, very, very keen on helping people. Her whole life had been devoted to helping others. She spent hour upon hour upon hour helping human beings. And that is what lifesavers do, isn't it? Once you discover what your personal essence is, you will understand whom you are, what your main characteristics are. You will be able to explain why you behave the way you do and why people react to you the way they do. Since I discovered that my personal essence was light, I completely understood why certain people just reacted the way they do when they meet me. I blind them or I attract them. Some people just feel annihilated by me because I outshine them, so they feel like they vanish in my presence. I understood why I could never go incognito. I'm always seen. No matter what I do, everybody sees me, wherever I am, whatever I do. Discovering what your personal essence is will completely explain your previous years, will completely explain your current situation, and will give you a very clear path ahead into the future. You will always know which direction to take, the one that best fits in with your personal essence. If I, for example, have two choices, I will always now take the lighter one, the one that has more light in it, because I will flow through it. If I choose a darker path, I'm going to really have trouble going that way. I'm not going to be feeling comfortable. I'm not going to enjoy it because it's not going to fit in with my nature. It's going to clash against my nature.